Okay, grade 10s, welcome. Today we're going to be doing a drawing techniques drawing, which is just a page from a study guide that we are currently working on for you guys. At the moment, we have not distributed a sample study pack for you guys, which is basically where we'll be giving you a couple of pages for you guys to practice extra. But don't worry about that yet because we are busy working on it. At the moment though, these are just drawing shapes, and that's something that you can practice even on a blank piece of paper. So this is just going to help you get your shapes together and help you draw or feel comfortable drawing with your equipment, especially with these new shapes that you might not know how to draw yet. Okay, so we're going to start off. We've got the question, so it's question drawing techniques, and they say given drawn shapes with the angles and dimensions needed to draw the respective shapes, and instructions are to use your drawing equipment and the measurements provided to complete the following figures. Each figure has been started for you at the bottom of the page, so you can obviously see this is where the figures have been started for you, and we've obviously given you guys angles and dimensions and the names of the shapes. Okay, so starting off, we've got the triangle. You can see that we've been given an angle of 60 degrees, which means that we have got an equilateral triangle. So obviously you're going to start off with the equilateral triangle. Okay, so we're going to start off by grabbing a measurement of 60 degrees and drawing a light construction line up like that. And then we are going to take not this angle. I don't know why this is confusing. It's this angle here. And this is why we're doing these shapes, so that you do not get confused, you get comfortable using your equipment. And you're going to draw a line up like that. So you can see we have got the triangle drawn in. Now obviously we can't leave it like this. We need to make the actual shape darker than the construction line. So there we are going to draw in our triangle neatly like this. Okay, there we go. You can see, nice and neat. Triangle is relatively easy, obviously, because there's not too much to worry about. It's more these shapes where a lot of you guys tend to struggle as we start off. Okay, next we've got the square. So you can obviously see, squares have a 90-degree angle, and we have given you a measurement of 35. So we're going to start off by drawing up the sides vertically to make our 90-degree angles. We could do this on both sides, and then you could measure the side with your ruler, measure 35, but sometimes it's easier just to take your compass if you've already got the measurements, which we have given for you here at the bottom, to measure your square. So you can see I've made a slight little arc just so that I know the height point, and then from there I'm going to draw in the rest of the square. So we have got a line at the top over here, and then we have got both lines at the bottom that we're going to connect. It is important as well that when you draw these shapes, you do connect the sides together, because if you don't connect them together and you've got little gaps, it's going to first of all look very untidy and it's just not correct. So make sure that you get used to joining all of your lines together as you practice. You don't want your lines to not touch. Okay, you can see we've given you an angle for the rectangle, but we have not given you a space for the rectangle, and that is because we're not drawing a rectangle. It's pretty much the same as the square, so you do not have to worry about drawing up a rectangle at all. Okay, next is the pentagon. There are lots of methods to do the pentagon, but I will make this in a separate video. The different ways to draw a pentagon, hexagon, and octagon. For now, we're just going to do a basic way so that you guys understand the angles, how it works, how you can use your set squares to draw them, etc. Okay, starting off with the pentagon, you see you've been given a base, a measurement, and an angle. So from the base, when we are drawing a pentagon, we measure an angle of 72 degrees. Okay, so you're going to line your compass up at the edge, so this circle point must be touching this edge here. It's very important to remember that. And then you're going to look up here for 72, so there's 71, 72. Okay, you can see we've done that. Then you're going to repeat on the other side. So you're going to grab your protractor again, you're going to put it down and you're going to see 71, 72, and you're going to make a little mark. So these little marks, I don't know if you can actually see them on the paper. I'm hoping that you can. Yeah. Okay. So you can see them on the paper. Now what you're going to do is you're going to lightly draw lines going towards the base. So you can see we've got our base connected over there. And then we obviously want to get our actual measurements in for the pentagon. So once again, we're going to measure the base with our compass, which has been given here. And then we are going to mark on that point what side it is. And then from that point, we're going to make an arc in the middle like this as well to get our points together. Okay, same on this side, we're going to make an arc. And then from that point, we're going to make another arc in the middle so that these two arcs touch. Okay, once they touch, you can obviously connect your pentagon together using your solid lines. So you can see these lines are now much darker than the construction lines, and you can see how neatly your pentagon looks now that you've drawn it in. Okay, next one is a hexagon. So a hexagon has an angle of 60 degrees. So we are then going to use our 60-degree set square to draw in our hexagon. So we know that edges are 60 degrees. So we're going to start off with 60 degrees from this point here. Okay, and then we are going to have 60 degrees from this point here as well. Okay, so you can see we've got our two 60-degree marks, and then again it's going to be simple measuring using our compass. So we're going to grab the measurement of the base, and then we are going to make a slight little arc and an arc. Again, you can use your ruler to measure if you'd like to. I just think sometimes that a compass is a bit quicker. Okay, so there we've got our lines. Now we obviously have to measure 60 degrees again. So from this point here, make sure your rulers are lining up and straight. You're going to measure 60 degrees, and from this point here you're going to measure 60 degrees again, so that you have this over here. And then again you're going to take your compass, making sure it's the same length as your base length. You are going to draw little arcs. So there you've got your arcs, and then you can draw top part of your hexagon. So there we've got our hexagon drawn in like that, and then we can connect our sides together. So I'll have a side over here. I would prefer that if you draw your sides in and you're not quite comfortable using a ruler with your hand yet, to just use the actual ruler to get the same, obviously, degrees, just in case you're not 100% sure that you're going to keep your hands steady and that sort of thing. Okay, anyway, so far this has been really easy. Now we're going to move on to the octagon, which has a angle of 45 degrees. So again, we've got our base. Now we are going to measure 45 degrees, which is one of the easiest ones because your 45-degree set square has 45 degrees on both sides. Okay, so there we've got 45 and 45. Now again, we're going to grab our base measurements. So we've got the first base measurement, which we're going to place over here, followed by the next base measurement, which we are going to place over here. And then we are going to draw lines from these base measurements going up like this. And then again, we're going to use our base measurements. So we're going to place our side over there, place our side over there, and then once again, 45 degrees. So we're going to go 45 degrees and 45 degrees. Now if you don't want to use your compass again to measure, you can always just measure up, just like this over here. You can see my 45-degree line isn't quite touching, so we're going to just extend that till it touches. I don't know why it's not touching. There we go. So there you can see it's touching the line, and now we are going to draw everything in as a solid line. So we've got a line there, a line over there, and then we can connect the rest. It's also important to make sure that all of your lines are the same color all around. You don't want to have some lines lighter than others. Like you see here, I've just made it a bit skew because I'm using my hands to measure, and now the line looks a little bit bigger. Don't do that. I'm not going to correct it, but make sure you don't do that. Make sure that all of your lines, like these shapes here, are the same all around. Okay, now we have one last shape, which is the circle, which is one of the easier shapes to obviously draw, and that's because obviously we're using our compass. Okay, so you've been given a radius of 20, so that is 20 mils. So you're going to measure 2 centimeters to get your 20 mils. You're going to place your compass in the center of your circle, and then you're going to draw a circle all around. Unfortunately, mine's sticking to this part here. So let's do that again. You're going to draw your circle around. Okay. And then you're going to keep your hand steady. My circle is going to be lighter than my other shapes because I've got a lighter lead in my compass, but you can obviously see the difference. So if you want your circle to be the same color as everything else, you need to get the right lead, the same type of lead. Okay, so that is how you draw the different shapes. So I hope that this helped you grade 10s, and I hope that you feel a little bit more confident with drawing these shapes. And like I say, I will make a video. It might be before this video, it might be after, of how to draw the different pentagons, hexagons, and obviously an octagon we don't need to worry about. Pentagon and octagon because, pentagon and hexagon because there are different ways of drawing them. Okay, hope this helped you grade 10s.